Attention all Vogue viewers! This crash course video on the history of e-commerce contains nihilism, satire, French jokes, making fun of Brazilians, hating on rich billionaires, China, a lot of copyright infringement, funk music, glorification of genocide und last but not least, flashing images. This video is not meant to be taken seriously. If you do, well, that's just your problem. Danke und auf Wiedersehen. Dummkopf, Alter.
Hello everybody and welcome to the video about the history and important milestones of e-commerce. Now, why are all of you watching this video? Well, I can only assume that all of you want to become e-commerce salesmen, saleswomen, sales children, sales Apache helicopters, and sales Nissan Micras. I hope I got everyone's gender correct. Before one begins his journey, one must know which path they are willing to take. Once one has picked a path to take, the journey begins. Now, let us dive back in time and look at the history of e-commerce to better understand this treacherous road we have embarked ourselves upon. I am your host, Sir Baconbottom Kingsley. Let us begin. On this small blue planet we call home, there have been many significant milestones that have shaped the way of e-commerce. You might not know it, but Pizza Hut plays an important role. More on that later. Let us start in the beginning, to be exact, the 1950s. The beginning of e-commerce, to be exact, the beginning of the internet. Since e-commerce stands for electronical commerce, and what other is commerce than the activity of buying and selling, especially on a large scale. Like all good things, before they go public and you and me can enjoy them, these inventions are made for a very specific reason. This reason being the total and utter annihilation of human life, more commonly known as war. After the invention of the internet in 1957, nothing really happens, so they decide to basically let people use the internet. Because if there's one thing people love more than war, it's money. In 1979, Michael Ulrich invents online shopping to enable online transaction processing between consumers and businesses. Ulrich was able to connect modified domestic televisions to a real-time multi-user transaction processing computer via a telephone line.
Holy shit, that was a mouthful.
Its first transaction was in 1981, where Thomas Holliday submits the first B2B electronic transaction using online technology. In 1982, Minitel launches in France. The Minitel was a videotex online service accessible through telephone lines and was the world's most successful online service prior to the World Wide Web. It was invented in some bollocks named town near some bollocks named city in some bollocks named province in France. My oh my, what a surprise. Now, in 1984, on Her Majesty's Royal Isles, Mrs. Snowball made the first online B2C purchase. As a grandmother, Jane Snowball, aged 72, sat down in an armchair in her Gateshead home in May 1984, picked up a television remote control and used it to order groceries from a local supermarket. In 1987, Schrag, Secure Payments, established the first electronic merchant account, allowing software developers to sell online. The World Wide Web was first created by a man named Tim Berners in 1990. The World Wide Web was also the first browser or browser editor because it was the only way to view the web when it was written in 1990. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Remember how I said Pizza Hut is mission critical to e-commerce? Well, in 1994, Pizza Hut makes online ordering available, and the first online pizza was ordered in Santa Cruz, California. Finally, a way that enables us humans to conveniently pursue our cholesterol addiction.
Was more.
In 1994, Netscape unveils SSL encryption, basically making everything online safer and less suspicious. But nowadays, SSL is a given and is as effective protecting you from online scams as the Maginot Line was protecting France from the Germans. Moving on to October in 1994, the Stanford Federal Credit Union was the first institution to let its customers access banking functions via the World Wide Web. To make it frank, a lot has happened in the year 1994. For example, Brazil wins the World Cup. Too bad for them that 20 years later they'll suffer a humiliating 7-1 defeat in Mineiro Stadium.
Brazil are being humiliated! Absolute humiliation!
In 1995, Jeff Bezos
I'm Jeff Bezos.
launches Amazon, but they only start out as a book dealer at first. Humble beginnings for a not-so-humble man. ActionWeb is also launched and renamed to eBay. A broken laser pointer is the first object sold online for around $14.83 for a broken laser pointer. Stay classy, eBay, never change. In 1998, PayPal is founded by a group of men. The founders are Ken Howery, Max Levchin, Peter Thiel, Luke Nosek, and last but not least, Elon Musk. Another important milestone in e-commerce during that year was the Chinese mainlander Jack Ma and 17 others, who probably died in Chinese labor camps, founded Alibaba Online. Jack Ma is the first mainland Chinese man to appear on the cover of Playboy, I mean Forbes magazines. Alibaba is basically a site where you can get everything you need for your e-commerce products for a great price.
Victoria's Secret introduces angels.
We're not those kind of angels.
Speaking of Playboy, Victoria's Secret also made the first online debut in 1998.
Very nice, yes.
In 2001, Apple launches iTunes. Not that anyone ever uses iTunes nowadays. I spent over €200 back in 2012 buying songs for iTunes because I was dumb. I should have just used Pirate Bay to get my songs for free, which was launched back in 2003. Ah, what a twat I used to be. Well, by 2004, Mark Zuckerberg launches Facebook. At its first, it's an online social media platform where people share pictures of their kids, holidays, what they ate for lunch, and how much they hate their boss. But as social media evolves, people realize that they can make money off of it, just like in war. 1 year later, YouTube launches in 2005 with its first video titled Me at the Zoo, commenting on elephants' long schlongs. Oh, really? You don't believe me? Well, watch it yourself. Here.
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants. And the cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
As we can clearly see, the internet is proving to be a perfect mating ground for e-commerce platforms. Klarna is founded in the year 2005 by a bunch of Swedes. Klarna is a service platform for people who earn less than minimum wage. It's basically like an online legal loan shark. They lend you money so you can buy your new iPod, graphics card, Victoria's Secret catalog, and let you pay later. If you don't, well, let's just say your future won't be looking too bright and you'll end up like this guy.
Was bist du denn? Was machst du da?
Du wolltest mir nicht ein Wecker-Test kommen, das merkt ihr doch. Ich bin überhaupt keine Rechenschaft schuldig.
Was schreist du denn so?
Halt die Fresse!
Was machst du da?
Halt die Fresse und fahr weiter, du Nazi-Arschloch!
In 2007, Steve, yes, Minecraft Steve, launches the iPhone. The iPhone is basically the gateway portal for us humans to buy and sell our unnecessary crap online while taking a poopy. Yes, very innovative indeed. Speaking of iPhones, the first ever waterproof iPhone was the iPhone 7, which was released in 2016. Now you could take your iPhone into the bathtub as well and mind your business underwater. P.S. OnlyFans was also created in 2016. Suspicious. Going back to 2012, Minitel finally dies out. Thank God. And in 2014, China is finally number one
China number one!
in all e-commerce sales. Who could have seen that one coming? Not me. Soon, they'll take over the world, just like Cartman predicted. In the same year, Apple launches Apple Pay to compete with Google's Google Wallet, which was the first direct competitor to PayPal. Now you could finally pay with your phone, caring less about your bank account and more on your acquired purchases. This basically makes Google shit their pants, and a year later they launch Android Pay in 2015 to compete with Apple's rising Apple Pay. In 2017, Instagram launches shoppable posts. It's basically the lifeblood of dropshipping and what made it so successful in the first place. If you do dropshipping, I hope you burn in hell, greedy scum. In 2019, a Chinese virus started taking over the world and forced everyone to stay at home and self-quarantine. I'd like to assume that everyone watching this video knows how this turned out and its effect on e-commerce.
Money, money, money. Must be funny in the rich man's world.
Instead of staying at home, being mindful and healthy, we all started ordering everything online, especially things we didn't need, like delivery pizza, gaming equipment, and Netflix subscriptions. I am no exception to this. I think we can all use our imaginations to figure out what this did to the world of e-commerce.
Money, money, money.
Well, now we're at the end of the video. I hope this has brought you some insight into the important milestones of e-commerce. We are still at the very beginning of e-commerce's history, and lots of new and amazing innovations are soon to come. Maybe one day we'll have same-day delivery on all e-commerce products, or maybe all our subscriptions to Amazon, YouTube, Netflix, etc. will be centralized on a singular platform. Or maybe, just maybe, we could develop the technology to lock our phones while listening to a YouTube video. Just maybe. I hope you enjoyed this video, but if there's one thing we can all learn from this, is that every new invention we humans create is not for the good of the people, but for greed, money, and most importantly, war.
Do you really think this is the right thing for us to be doing, Ivana?
What will people think?
Let them talk.
Donald.
Ivana. It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Crust first.
Introducing stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. With a ring of cheese baked into a totally new, thinner crust, you'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
May I have the last slice?
Actually, you're only entitled to half.
Large, just $9.99.